I got what you're saying. You know, I'm asking that. You know, I'm asking that question for a reason.
Okay.
All right. And it's namely to kind of elicit. You know, like how are we to understand? You know, the method of consumption for humans at that time. Like what they're eating, what they're not supposed to eat. You know, like how are we to understand that? All right. But the key point is that every tree yielding seed, right? That which produces life. You're not just gonna eat some grass. You know what I'm saying? You can't just eat grass. Or just get you a couple of leaves off a tree and make a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. Right? But that which is good for food. Okay? Proceed.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to every creeping creature on the earth, in which there is a living being, every green plant is for food. And it came to be so. And Elohim saw all that he had made, and see, it was very good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the sixth day.
So by the sixth day, he sees everything that he's made, said that it's Tov Mayo. Right? And mind you, this is after the creation of man. Right?
Okay.
Tov Mayo. So, we just kind of follow the context of what we're reading. All right? Everything's created.
Except for man.
Well, follow me. You know what I'm saying? This is where we kind of get into some textual criticism, right? Because a lot of times we might approach it and say, hey, look, we read everything chronologically, right? And we couldn't for certain say that everything happened in a chronological manner.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? That would be nice, but if you approach it from, let me just say, a different standpoint, okay? Because it almost sounds like two different stories. Chapter 1 has a backdrop, and then chapter 2 kind of goes into all these different details. Okay? So, just providing a perspective, you know what I'm saying, as we continue to study. Alright? So,
Chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed, in all their array. And in the seventh day, Elohim completed his work which he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
right?
And Elohim blessed the seventh day and set it apart, because on it he rested from all his work which Elohim in creating had made.
So, what makes the seventh day different from the first day?
He rested on that day.
I mean, I got you. Yeah, he rested on that day.
Yeah,
But I mean, the first day was good too.
Okay.
But he didn't create anything on that first day.
Hmm?
Oh, thank you. That's what I meant. He said it for me.
I got you. But my question is, what makes the seventh day unique from the first day?
Because he set it apart. And he blessed the seventh day.
There you go. It's the only day in creation that has a blessing attached to it.
Hallelujah.
Right? So, you find yourself in a discourse with somebody and you're talking about it. Well, what's so different about your Sabbath and my Sabbath?
Okay. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Well, here's the difference.
That's right.
The seventh day, right? It's the only day with a blessing attached to it.
Uh-huh.
The seventh day was sanctified as Kodesh. Right? 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the seventh day, right, cease from that and enjoy the blessing.
Hey.
You know how many patterns in the Tanakh follows that same pattern? 6 years, sow the field. In the seventh year, what do?
Let it rest.
Enjoy the rest, right? Even the same thing down to what? Maybe even servitude. And the seventh year is the year of what? Release. 6 years, this person has
Okay.
did what they had to do. In the seventh year, they get to go out. Enjoy the Sabbath. Right? Now, let's take this same concept, right? How would we apply this same concept towards how we kind of function today? You follow what I'm saying? just the function, the principle of 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the seventh day, cease from that work and enjoy the blessing. Just something to think about. All right? Go ahead.
Actually, that's it's an interesting perspective because aside from just, okay, we work 6 days a week, we work 6 days a week and then the seventh is off. In terms of planning, in terms of working with purpose. Now, I mean, money through working with purpose to see on that day of rest the fruits of what you're doing all week, i.e., planning from the beginning of the week to a rest. You know what I mean? I'm saying, when you say how do we apply that? We sit down and literally plan our lives so we work with purpose, so that by the time we get to the rest, we see the results of what we did for that week, whether it was saving, whether it wasn't working on a project, whatever it is. When you rest, you can look back over the week and see what I've done. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Opposed to just living every day and then resting on Saturday.
And you know what? Even the tithing system, right? 3-year tithe, 6-year tithe, and in 7 years, what happens in the 7th year? You enjoy it, right? Everything comes into the storehouse, right? You know who that's regarded for, who's supposed to take care of that? And in the 7th year, right? The fatherless, the orphans, the widows, right? Everybody's taken care of, right? All of that's embedded in the principle of 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the 7th day, enjoy the blessing. Okay? All right. Tosi.
These are the births of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahuwah Elohim made earth and heavens. Now, no shrubs of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahuwah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth. And there was no man to till the ground, but a mist went up from the earth, and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahuwah Elohim formed the man out of the dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostril breath of life, and the man became a living being. And Yahuwah Elohim planted a garden in Eden to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight.
So real quick, right? Back to the Song of Moshe. Found you in the desert and wasteland, howling wilderness, right? And he formed you. And he called you by name. The man whom he formed called him by name. Right? Now, let's get down to this function real quick. Tosi.
Verse 9. And out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. Bdellium is there, and the Shoham stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Kedekel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and to guard it. Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. And Yahuwah Elohim said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart. And from the ground Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field.
So, that term, right? Ezer Kenegdo. Alright, for those of us that was in the Hebrew class earlier, for those of us that were in the Hebrew class earlier, right, is there connecto, and it's it's what English would translate as a help me, right? Now, what's interesting about this word, right, nagad or connecto as it's kind of conjugated, this is something that stands in opposition to, right? Not in a demoralizing manner, right? But in his way or in his purpose, right? Rationalize, right? Provide insight. Everybody follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and a lot of times, what if we kind of follow this thing, right? Nashim, I'm gonna say what we call kokma, right, in the scriptures, has a feminine characteristic that's implied with it, right? Wisdom was in the beginning, right? And anytime we kind of talk about wisdom, right, wisdom is always referred to as a woman,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's like the Nashim, let them be your wisdom in the subject matter. That's what she was created to do. And here's the thing, man was formed, right? Hawa was made. Why weren't they both just formed? Right? It said that she was Bina, being, whatever however you want to pronounce it. She was made. Okay? She was made skillfully. Think about it. Nashim, they adapt to a lot of different things. Right? What's it called? The sixth sense? Intuition? That's y'all seventh sense, right? Intuition is just something that's always there. They know. Right? They can see the wisdom in the matter. Okay? That's how they were made. They were made to function in that manner. To help. Right? In opposition, not as a tool of obstruction, but in opposition as a tool of wisdom. Okay? Keep reading. That's why, one more point. That's why whoever finds a wife finds a good thing. You follow me? Okay. Go ahead, Keith.
And from the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field, and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man, to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called each living being, that was its name. So the man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him, as his counterpart. So Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place.
Right? So the word Tesla, right? Tesla. Okay? This word means chamber. Right? Chamber. So you take the woman from a rib of a dog. Right? Now what do ribs do?
Protect organs.
They protect all the vital organs. Right? That's what they do. Okay? Before you can get to the lungs, the liver, the pancreas, and all this kind of stuff that's up in here, right? You got to get through a few ribs, right? Ribs don't really break easy, okay? Unless you just trying to break them. But I just want to think about the function, right? All right. Now I want to let's apply that to her function. Right? She's made a certain type of way. So she might be like, hey, look, however they say it, you might not want to do that. They might say some sly. Redirect your attention, right? That's what she made you do. Okay? Alright.
So Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman, because she was taken as man. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, yet they were not ashamed.
Why not? Why not?
They didn't know it. Yeah, they don't know that.
Really? They didn't know?
At the time.
You don't think so? Go ahead. Emma.
There was nothing to be ashamed of.
Right.
Nothing to be ashamed of,
Right.
right? So 2 questions, right? One, what does that say about the intellect of Adam and Hawa prior to an event that we're going to read later? Okay? And 2, well, I'll say that. I'll say that for later. Alright? Toasty for y'all.
Chapter 3. And the Nakash was more.
Wait, I wanna go back to something real quick that I didn't bring out. What was man's primary function? Right? What was his primary duty and primary function? So let's somebody get a marker for her. So let's do this right here, right?
That's a dry rinse.
This is dry erase.
He said, make sure.
Man. Woman. What was man's primary function?
To work.
To work?
Take
Till
care
the ground.
Take care of the
To
garden.
till the ground?
It says to, in the Garden of Eden, to dress it and feed it.
So those 2 words, right? Serve and protect.
Yeah.
Abad, right? Shamar. So let's do this. Serve and protect. Woman, how was she made? What was her primary function?
To be his helpmeet. and
Helpmeet.
To be his wisdom.
No,
Counterpart.
like that counterpart. Now we're learning about function. Right? Adam, serve and protect. Isha, that's what she's called. She's called Isha because he named her woman. Alright? Doesn't say he named her Kawah. See, that comes later. And we'll get to the point I'm going to make about that throughout the text. But, like, everything has to have a meaning. Right? If she's called, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. I don't want to give it away right now. But keep this in mind right here, right? The nation of Israel, your job is to
Serve and protect.
serve and protect. Right? Through wisdom.
Which is a woman.
Okay? Which is why the Nashim in our nation, right? Which is why they're so important. Which is why the Tanakh might say something like, hey, look, don't cause the daughters of Israel to become harlots. Right? Because what do? You degrade, you know what I'm saying, your existence. Now, you do a lot of different things when you don't nurture dysfunction. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, right? You don't facilitate, I'm just going to say, the cycle of life to function as it's supposed to function. Everybody follow what I'm saying? We'll read the half-Torah later, right? And I'll bring some key points out of that, you know what I'm saying, that we should probably take a look at. You know, these things are repetitive throughout the scriptures. They're repetitive. They're said over and over and over and over again. Right? Anything that's important in Tanakh is always said
More than one.
more than once.
Okay. Right.
Right? Okay. Let's go. Now hold on. Hey, you know what? Think about something. Why don't he have another job? Okay, let's put it like this, right? You know how we want to do everything other than what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
right? No, your DNA structure is this, right? You want to do everything. Now I'm talking about Israel. right? But through this parallel, why isn't Adam told to do anything else?
Yeah, he didn't go, or at this point in time, he didn't transgress against the Most High. So everything is working in his favor.
Okay, he didn't transgress against the Most High. Now, this is categorically, right? This is one person in the Gan Adam said to have, you need to serve, you need to protect what I have given you. I've given you dominion over this, over other facets of creation, right? Guard it with your life. Take care of it. Take care of the things that's in your possession, to include this woman. You take care of her, she gonna take care of you. You don't take care of her, she's not gonna take care of you. Right?
Yeah.
Your service, your protection, is also your wisdom.
Oh,
Let it be so. So, woman, she is a wonderful creation of the Creator.
Amen.
No, man.
Amen.
Wonderful creation of the Creator. We gotta treat her as such.
Okay.
There's so many different labels and titles that, we kind of go by. Except for the ones that are kind of rooted in the function. From the very, very beginning. Okay? Alright. So see,
Perek Shalosh, chapter 3. And the Nakash was more crafty than all the lives of the field.
what is a Nakash?
they say it's a serpent.
So let's look at it. Right? Nakash.
Could have been a serpent yet. Good job, man.
Alright, the word Nakash, okay? When you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, right? Let's do this. Let's break some understanding. It means to hiss, whisper. When somebody's whispering, right? What do they normally do?
Keeping a secret. Hiding something.
Saying something they shouldn't be saying.
Saying something they probably shouldn't be saying. Okay. To hiss, to whisper, right? Even if you look at that word Nakash, it talks about divination and enchanting.
Okay.
But you notice the concept of Nakash, it didn't rebel against the Creator. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. So what is that? It says now the Nakash, right, was most subtle than any beast of the field. Now mind you, at this point, everything is functioning in its what?
It is
Proper order.
good.
In its purpose.
Everything was good.
Everything is what?
Told.
So by the sixth day, everything was
Told man.
Told Mayo. Told Mayo could also kind of, right, function,
Okay.
right?
Very functional.
So if something is functional, what does that mean?
It's working the way it should.
It's working the way that it should.
Right.
The way it's designed to work.
Right.
So let's keep that in mind, right? Let's keep reading. Everything is functional.
Okay.
Read.
And the Nakash was more crafty than all the lives of the field, which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the Nakash, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
What's wrong with this picture?
The man is not there.
Well, we don't know where he's at. You know what I'm saying? That's a good inference. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say with context, but we don't know where he's at. He kind of just goes into the Nakash is speaking, right? So on and so forth. And this is what it's saying. All right? We don't know where the man is. But if I had to get a lesson from it, you need to stay close to your woman at all times. You follow me? You need to stay close to your woman at all times. Because now what's happening is a different type, when I say a different way of thinking, let me rephrase this. If you got a way to walk, right? It's kind of like, how the Most High talks about the nation. I put you on the path, right? I need you to stay on this path, right? But somebody says, well, you could do this right here. You could walk this way. You could do it this way, right? That may not be what's functional, okay? What's functional is I need you right here for this purpose. What's over here in this lane, that's for somebody else, something else, for that purpose, right? AKA, you don't really see lions acting like hyenas.
No.
They'd be out of their function.
Right.
They'd be out of their character. Matter of fact, they don't even hang out.
Right.
And when they do meet, you know what I'm saying?
Drama.
There's drama. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
There's drama with that. Keep it in mind. So now, if I have to focus, if we're gonna focus on one word, focus on function. Function. All right. Tosi.
And the woman said to the Nakash, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die. And the Nakash said to the woman, you shall certainly not die.
Yeah, you know.
He didn't tell her.
Sure did.
He did lie. Keep reading.
For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened.
I thought their eyes was already open.
Already, that's right. Already on.
I thought they. So now check it out. He got to be a very intelligent man,
Say it again.
right? To name the animals, right? We don't know. It doesn't tell us what he was taught in between time.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're
How
right.
to till the ground,
Came.
how to take care of stuff,
Like it came.
how to nurture a woman,
Came.
right? How to take care of a woman, how to be obedient, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here something is introduced, right? Something is introduced. I'm gonna just say that something is introduced. I was watching this movie. It's called Smallfoot.
Saying that.
Seen that movie?
Yeah,
And the guy, he takes the, they talk about these stones and all this other kind of stuff, right? And the guy's like, hey, look, the chief person of the Yetis. That's what they call it.
Right.
Yetis. He was like, the only thing greater than fear is curiosity. The only thing stronger than fear is curiosity. Right?
That's real.
Curiosity did what to the cat?
Killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Killed the cat.
Get head off.
But, my people, I ain't gonna do that. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, when you said about when the car says that you won't die. So I don't know. My thought process of that is, not immediately, but the look in the car knew that if they transgress the Most High, that death would enter. So in a sense, what I'm saying is he knew that they would die. She's probably thinking right now, but he understood the greater picture. And now, correct me, I'm saying in my thought process, he knows, well, you're gonna die if you eat this. It's just not gonna be today, but you're gonna introduce death. So correct me if I'm off there. You know what I mean?
Well, Adam goes on to live how many years?
900 and something.
I'm 30. Right? But, if we want to, this kind of gives rise to, now we need to, maybe in another lesson we can deal with the concept of life and death. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because the body returns back to the ground. The spirit, you know what I'm saying? What's good? So we can get into the concept of life and death. What's living? What's dying? You understand what I'm saying? So we can tackle all this stuff. I got you. Yeah, yeah.
His eyes was open. His eyes was only open to life. His eyes wasn't open to the things that cause. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the half Torah, right? You supposed to, the prophet said, you know what? You got to open the eyes of the blind, help the deaf to hear and understand. Why? Because the facet of life has been planted in you, right? It's in. I mean, I'm telling you, if you, Most High did a good work with us as a people, which is why you can see why the language is so strong when you go give your attention to something else that is nothing. I'll say this: an idol is nothing more than the attention you give.
Can't.
Mind power.
It's nothing more than the attention you give. I got you. I'm gonna say this. When I read things that the prophets say, let's take the prophet Jeremiah, right? He's like, those things are nothing. They don't breathe. They can't see.
That's right.
They can't even protect themselves from rust and corrosion.
Hallelujah. Come on.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, what is idolatry?
Mm-hmm.
Other than what you make it.
Come on now.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Say that.
So if we're dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? Guess what you're dealing with?
Uh-huh.
You dealing with self.
Yourself. Come
That's
on.
right.
So
That's right.
that means your spirit has become disloyal.
Woo.
Shema Yisrael, right? Jehovah Yahweh, Eloheinu, the Most High, your Elohim is one. Love is loyalty. Right? This man, your function, right, is to discipline you in being loyal. Right? How can you be loyal to the Creator if you can't watch the trees grow up right? Right? You can't monitor, monitor the things that's within your domain. That takes a lot of. Can anybody here go be a zookeeper? Did you go do that?
Not off that.
Not on back, right?
Take training.
You have to be taught.
Taught.
You feel what I'm saying? So I don't want to diminish what Adam's or Adam's knowledge was during the beginning. I don't want to diminish that at all. You follow? But this concept of curiosity, it does something to us. It takes us in places that
You're right.
it may not be functional
Can.
for you. You follow what I'm saying? It may not be functional. People can say things are good, bad, whatever the case may be. Is it functional? Okay? You.
Well, I was thinking, what you said about, living, from the time that we're born, naturally, at this point, we begin to die. We lose cells regenerate. So we're having life and death all the time.
All the time.
So now, the natural process is that you're regenerated, which includes dying. But in the garden, when he's dressing and keeping, would there have been like decaying of plant matter decay? That's where you get compost from. So would that have been a natural process at that point?
I don't know. It doesn't tell us. You know what I'm saying? What I do know is, at this point, everything is
Good.
functional. It's told mayo. That's what I know. So if things is told mayo, that means they doing whatever they supposed to do, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm gonna train my mind like this, right? If things is told things are told mayo, my eyes aren't even trained to really look for what's not.
The rock. Right.
It's kind of like the ideology of this ain't no static. Right? It's kind of like always looking for the curses. So long as you functional, right, and you function within your purpose, life is told, man, you living, right? You're living. So, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if decay and, you know, all those kind of things might have been a thought to even have at that time.
Because if they're having bananas, they got banana skins, that makes good compost.
The bananas probably grew without skins.
Yeah,
They probably was just, you know, just straight off the preserved good. I mean, I don't know.
Definitely different.
You know, I mean, I couldn't say, you know, yes or nay. I mean, yay or nay, but you know, just think of it as something that's it's just good. It's good. It's good. All right. All right. You got a question, Aki? Okay. Toast.
For Elohim knows. And the Nakar said to the woman, you shall certainly not die. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing Tov and Ra, good and evil.
So in your PDF, I put a small excerpt in there about Elohim as God's in the Tanakh. All right, and you know, when you get some time, just read that. Okay. I would say that one thing that's kind of unique about the opening of bereshit is that you can just respond in it. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't, you know, if something comes up, just let me know. You can respond in it, right? Watch this, right? Elohim can be used for a lot of different things in the Tanakh. Judges, demons, rulers, right? A lot of different things can carry the name Elohim. Yah is an Elohim, but there is no other Elohim that is Yah. You know what I'm saying?
So to be clear on what you're saying, considering that tense is a plural tense, you're not referencing it as a plural because there's one power that we're referring to, whereas these other entities that you introduced before, you said that of the Most High, can be in a plural, and most of the times are, because you're talking about a body of different, whether they're idols or whatever the case may be. Just one clarity on what you're saying.
Right. And I'll even go so far as to say this, right? Elohim is not, it should not be used as a substitute for God in the concept of it relating to the Most High Yah. Like you know, that's not really how the text structures it, right? Like, you know, if you kind of, I would encourage everybody, right? This is why I say, you know, culture through language is very, very important. You follow what I'm saying? Like, and ideally, you know, these thoughts, you know, it's not even in the same court when you get to, I'm just gonna say some Edenic ways of thinking, right? Yah is an Elohim, but no other Elohim compares or is Yah. It's just not, right? But, you know, if we kind of get down to the nuts and bolts of, you know, what this describes, right? It may describe attributes, but not necessarily a sphere of existence.
Elohim.
Right.
Okay.
Because think about it. Judges, they can be described as Elohim, but they got power to make decisions. Right? Shadim, you know what I'm saying? They're kind of described as Elohim. But that's a different, I don't want to say authority, but that's a different segment in itself. Right? So just in your own time, study about it. Alright? Study about that word. Look at what it is. You know, just look at it throughout the tonight. Alright? Go ahead.
So, I asked a question. Elohim is plural. Elohim is plural. So when you speak of Elohim, when you're speaking of the Most High as the Elohim, he's saying it's more than me than you understand. That's the best I can put it. There's more than me. There's intricate parts to me that means plural, but one.
I have so many different powers and things that I'm capable of doing, but it's just me.
That's the best I can explain that to you, brother.
I understand, that's why I'm
Because
trying to make it clear.
he goes along and say, let us. So,
So just think about that. All right. Just want to make sure we all clear on that. Okay. You had a question here?
No, I had a statement,
Okay, go ahead.
very quickly.
Real quick.
I had saw where they had GODS with the little g also as Elohim.
Right. So that kind of gets into some later, I'm gonna say, transliterations. And you gotta remember, like a lot of these things, they come with a different mindset. You follow what I'm saying? So, more on that subject matter later.
No problem.
Okay.
But that's why I stopped using it.
All right. Tosi Faki.
And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking about in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim among the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, Where are you? And he said, I heard
Question real quick. At this point, what can you say about the knowledge of Adam and Hawa? What do they know?
That they're different.
Huh?
That they're different beings.
You said that they're different beings? Okay.
Physically.
Okay, I got you. All right, I got you. Go ahead, read out, kid. Oh, go ahead, Imam, I'm sorry.
They know how to live.
They know how to live?
Mhm.
Okay, they know how to live. Got you. Read.
And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid myself.
Hey, look. After partaking of the tree, why is the first thing that they know is that the fact that they're naked? Said that they were naked earlier, right? And they were not ashamed. But then he says, I hid because I was naked. What does that say about the knowledge of the tree of Toad and Ra that they partook of? Go ahead.
That there is shame in it.
Shame.
The knowledge of shame.
Knowledge of shame. Okay.
Come on now.
Okay. Go ahead.
A vessel of temptation.
A vessel of temptation. Now check this out, right? When you feel that way, right? Think about where this takes your mind. When you embrace a thought as such. Let's go back, right? Earlier in the story, right? Tanakh makes a point to let us know that they were naked and they weren't ashamed. And I heard everybody say there was nothing to be ashamed of. Right? That means the mind is what? The mind is pure. The mind becomes functional. The inner man is, what is it? Talk to me.
Clean, toad,
pure, clean,
Wholesome.
wholesome.
toad,
Told.
Oh,
Functional.
set apart, kadesh.
Right? But as soon as they partake of this tree, the first thing that they say, it's not like, oh, I feel sick. Or, oh man, whatever. The first thing that he says when he's called is, I hid because I was naked. Then why does the Most High make a point to ask, well, who told you that?
Who told you?
Yeah.
Who you been listening to?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Who told you that?
Damn.
What is that teaching us? Give me Proverbs, Psalms. You read it today. Psalms 1 and 1.
Okay.
Come on.
Let's read this.
Sefer Tehillim, the book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong,
in the counsel of the wrong. Read.
and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his
So check it out. There was some counsel taking place, right? You know, some casual conversation. Hey, look, you're not gonna die.
Come on.
Come on. Come on, Doc.
You ain't gonna die.
Uh-huh.
But
Take it to the drill.
in fact, you're gonna be smarter.
Come on.
Come
Eyes
on.
will be open,
You know
right?
what I'm saying? You know, who don't want to be smart?
Mm-hmm.
Limitless, right? You seen the movie Limitless?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
The guy takes the pill and he can do everything. His
Yeah.
eyes become open.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yes.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So, what does that teach us? Go ahead.
For me, it teaches that whenever you disobey the Creator, you're gonna get that shameful feeling. Especially when the outcome, is not gonna always, that's not gonna never be good when you go against the Creator's word. So it's like that'll give you like a shameful feeling, like when you go against Yah's word.
And check it out, right? The only thing outside of what's told Mayo that's out of function, quote unquote, rebelling against the Creator, is man.
There you go.
Nothing else is operating outside of its function.
Come on. You're teaching right now, Aki.
Nothing.
Come on.
There couldn't be any other. Well, I'll say this. It doesn't. The text doesn't imply to us that there's any other opposing thought to the Creator other than the faculty of man's thought.
Same.
So why plant the tree at all then?
Okay, Slick, what did you say prior to planting the tree?
I said, at this point, right, the text doesn't imply that anything, right? So let's back up. Day 6, everything is
Good.
told Mayo.
Right, very good.
Everything that's created is operating in function.
Right.
Something comes in, starts talking to somebody, to the woman, right? Another segment of counsel. You know what I'm saying? Because another thing about a room is, Yaakov was described as a room. That's what people call him, crafty and, all other kind of stuff. That kind of go, but, prudent, right? When you're prudent about something, right, what do? You kind of drive the point home, right? Prudent, you're normally very, very assertive in your prudence. You follow what I'm saying? Now, Emo, what I'm saying is this. Out of everything that's told Mayo to include man and his woman are the only thing at this point that are in opposition to what's told Mayo.
Because they didn't follow.
They didn't follow.
They didn't follow.
Now, not to diminish our foreparent, but I want to pull out the greater lesson. I believe the greater lesson to this, right? Your thoughts, your mind, your intentions is all you.
Come on. Come on.
It's all you. Can't blame it on nobody else.
Accountability.
There you go.
Come on.
Accountability.
Accountability.
starts with self.
It starts with self. So, it's a lot of different questions you can ask about this whole scenario, right? Why, hey, y'all, why we can't just, why we can't just
Do whatever we want.
No, I didn't do whatever we want. But why we can't, why things just can't be good? Why does there gotta be? Why does that gotta be
we
there?
have to
Yeah,
have
right.
a tree of good and evil,
You know what I'm saying? But
See,
nothing,
if you would follow instructions.
but nothing worth having is easy.
Why you gotta test this?
You know what I'm saying? I read something that was on the board today. Yaakov strove with man and El and prevailed. Right? I believe that probably what was covered on the Shemini Zedek, right? Becoming loyal, allowing your spirit to become loyal. That's That's an inner work you gotta work on. You gotta want that. You gotta want it.
Not mad, come on.
It is not magic.
That's right, come on.
That's true.
So when you talking now, mind you, right? It said they heard the voice. They only heard the voice walking. They heard the voice of Elohim walking.
Okay.
Here's the reason why our primary thing is, listen guys, Shema.
Shema.
Shema. That's right.
Right? Didn't tell you to do nothing else. Listen up.
That's right.
Pay attention, come on.
Pay attention to what's going on.
Come on.
Be mindful.
Okay.
Guard your gates. Why is there such an emphasis on guarding the gates?
That's right.
We're taught.
All right. You know, y'all's teaching us something. You know, we paying attention.
Come on.
All right. Let's see, Faki.
And he said, who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me.
There you go.
There we go.
Taking accountability.
She gave me of the tree and I ate.
So where does the ability, how does that thought come into mind? I'm just gonna blame her.
Well, that's
And Elohim. And Elohim.
Huh?
And Elohim.
The woman you gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You.
You. Come on.
You know,
very good point.
you know,
Blame shifting.
what's up with that?
Right.
See,
Come on, Rob. Teach.
the white man made us do it.
Come on, Rob. Come on, Rob.
Go ahead.
Fast.
Serpent was a white man,
Serpent is the white man. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Saying the same thing.
Saying the same.
You know, that daggone devil. But see, nobody is saying, you know what? Yeah, I messed that
That
up.
was me.
I messed up.
I did that.
Come on. Come on.
I did that.
Uh-huh.
You told me to do something, and I decided to listen to something else. See, you tripping. You are. Not the white man.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
It ain't even about that.
It's not.
That's so low
It is.
on the totem pole. You know, like that's not even a thing.
That's real, like.
You know, real G stand up.
That's real
Come on.
talk, man.
You know what I mean?
Real talk like that.
You know, that's how you know you're getting somewhere. When y'all says you would think yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you have been,
Preserving and protecting.
you know what I'm saying?
Come
If
on.
you have been doing what you're supposed to be doing,
Come on.
right?
You all good.
Because everything can stay totally on. Okay? But when you step out of function, you step out of character, right? This is what can happen. So I would not dare put it on anything or anybody else.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, not saying, anything about Adam, but it's like, hey, you know what? You're the reason why I can't be what I'm supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Here we go.
And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. And Yahuwah Elohim said,
Why you didn't say no?
All right.
You got instructions?
All right.
Wasn't he the one that was given the instructions, or did he give them both the instructions?
Listen,
That's the key.
hey, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? The Most High, let's do this. The Most High tell you something. You ain't gonna instruct your wife and children accordingly. You're not gonna make sure everybody know. Now put this in perspective. I don't know what Adam named the animals when he named them. We know what we call them today. But an elephant might not have been called an elephant back then. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But if you got that kind of wisdom, it's gotta dawn on you. Hey, look, baby, check it out. I know they look good, but we're gonna go over here.
Right.
Look at these grapes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Look at these grapes right here. Let's leave that alone. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay on the path we supposed to stay on. What?
When your teenagers bring home friends, they know what the rules are.
Mhm.
They're responsible for making sure that their friends know we don't do that in our house if we want to be successful.
You feel me? We don't do that over here. Now, if it seems abrasive for y'all to serve Elohim, that's on you. But as for me, in my crib, it's what we gonna do.
Okay.
You feel me?
Okay.
We're gonna listen. We're gonna do what's right for our house. And here's the thing, right? That's what works for us. That's what's functional for us. Out of everything we've tried, what works? What's functional for Yisrael?
Right there.
Obedience.
Okay.
Yahweh Elohim said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman said, "The Nakash deceived me, and I ate." Yahweh Elohim said to the Nakash, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go, and eat dust all the days of your life. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel." To the woman he said, "I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain, and your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you." And to the man he said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, 'Do not eat of it,' cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you are to eat of it all the days of your life. And the ground shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread until you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you return."
Yeah, there was a question that was on the table earlier, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands that Yah took the woman from the man. And we don't say whether he taught her anything. We don't know those answers. But when a servant came to her, she said to him what Yah said to the man. So when Yah steps in the field, Yah sees everybody pays the price because everybody knew. So when she took him out of that, gives me the thought, when she took him out of him, or when he gave it to her, that same information went through him. And when she pulled him out, she already knew the information that was needed to know. So when servant came, she was able to say to him what Yah had said.
Right.
So when Yah came back and Yah said to them, each one of y'all want to pay the price because each one of y'all knew. It's like because you didn't know. See, because you knew, you paid this price.
Go ahead.
Shabbat shalom, Mr. God.
Shabbat shalom.
I love the bereshit. I love it always because there's so much in it. Like you say about functioning here, functioning, what works for us. You just speak in minutes, okay, about the information. And we're going to, you read through it, but we have to understand it was information because it says the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We still been, I should say, animated through our upbringing about the apple and the snake on the tree.
Right.
And it's still in our DNA still. We haven't cleansed that out of us yet. It's still, still hard to swallow that it was a brother and a sister in the marketplace, and the brother walked up and told them, "Hey, let's go over here and get whatever was contrary to the Creator." We have to understand that Adam wasn't no lame. He wasn't soft, he wasn't inadequate, he wasn't incapable of what y'all is perfect. Adam is perfect. That's why we're called B'nai Adam throughout the scripture. They say son of man, but it's B'nai Adam. We are the children of the perfect man, made in an image and likeness of the Creator. So he was well equipped. But like he said, Maria said a minute ago, he made a choice. He didn't follow through. So proving that he is a man, he has decisions to make. What can you do? What do you want to do? You said a minute ago, keep the ways of the Creator, stay focused. But it also shows the reality of this. Because we just take it outside and keep it in the storybook, it's not applicable in our day-to-day activities. So I want to make sure, I heard the information coming out, but I want to make sure this is sinking in because we got Yeladim here, we got people that's new into the understanding coming in, we got young adults coming in, and this persona will walk up on you every day and tempt you, hey, I know you don't be so-and-so and so-and-so, whatever the case may be. But you know what? A little bit won't hurt. Like you might say, his children bring somebody home. They're bringing that influence home. That influence, and it's not a one-day thing. This didn't happen in one day. Adam and Kawhi, that wasn't one day. The story we bring it down for in time's sakes, but we understand this was because he was a powerful man. Like one day, come on, for sake of both sides, let's go. We'll be foolish to believe it was a one-day thing. To come on, it's a process. You've seen it before. I've been there. I ain't picking on my Nasheen, but your Isha come to you and she'll say, babe, I need a new dress. You be like, the money ain't right. Babe, I need a new dress next week. I need you be like, no what? Look, take the ATM card because I'm trying to do something, I'm trying to keep this going, but I want to keep you happy as well. That fast, you can put down, now your bill late. Now you got a new dress, but the lights cut off. But I want to say that to you, make sure that we have a reality grip on the text because this affects us every day. It is real, it's people here. Don't ever try to take people out of this. It was the serpent, the serpent is a person. It's a character described as cunning, crafty, seductive, manipulative. These are the characters of Satan. The serpent, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it, or could be your wicked homeboy, your wicked homegirl. So we have to understand this is reality. So I told out about the time I give, but I saw that I don't want to get away from that essence of this is risk everyday applicable.
Real short, for real. Shabbat Shalom. No, just to back your point, when you said that, don't you think that he told her what it was? Mm-hmm. Because she answered the serpent. And it said back in 2:16 and 17, God commanded Adam. James. Okay, so if he commanded Adam and Eve wasn't there yet, okay, he commanded Adam, you're right. Adam told her, this is what Yah said. Mm-hmm. So he knew before she knew, and he told her, and when she came to him, he should have told her, like he said, nah, we're not going to do that.
So that's going to fall into this right here. Your service and how you protect. Come on. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? And it's like, one thing that I kind of noticed that's like very pervasive, right, is it's like the words, these I'll say this, right? These words have got to mean something to you. Come on. Right? They gotta mean something to you. So for all intents and purposes, right, we wasn't there during the time of Adam, but what is the Creator saying to us through this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm telling you something, right, it's for your own good. Right? Okay. The life of Am Yisrael, I don't read that it's supposed to be difficult and hard. Now, difficult and hard does exist if that's the kind of bread you like eating.
Say that. Say that.
If you like that, you can get that. Or, you know what I'm saying? You get these grapes that's the size of your head.
They're sweet.
You know what I mean? And one other thing, right? really highlights the nurturing element that marriage should contain. You know, it doesn't really talk about it, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, men, anashim, women, nashim. Hey, look, your relationship, y'all gotta be tighter than 2 coats of paint. That's tight. You know, I got you. And young men, you know what I'm saying? Like if you of that, you know, these things is a process. You understand what I'm saying? When you taking a wife, that's why it says, you know what, man leaves his mother and his father. And he clings to who? His Isha. Because from his Imam and his Abba, right, he obtained wisdom, he obtained how he should live his life, all of that, right? And his Isha, right, she's supposed to be that functioning balance, right? It's like the way y'all design this thing, it's bulletproof if you do it right.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that also doesn't mean that things don't take a turn, right? It's all about how we handle what's in front of us. Okay? So, I mean, I just, I want to drive that point home.
Come on, make it real.
All right, go ahead, Aki. All right. Go ahead,
I'm sorry, real quick, I just want to say, that's 100% because when she told the Nakash, she told the Nakash, like y'all said, we ain't supposed to touch it. So it's very important for us to be close to our significant others and make sure that we're sharing the right information, because if you share the wrong information from the Creator, that can also be error for a person to manipulate them with. You understand what I'm saying? So, like you said, be staying close with one another. Make sure y'all establish a bond where nobody can go in between that. So if somebody say, yo, this is what she's moving, you can be like, nah, I know my wife, she ain't moving like that. You front. You understand what I'm saying? Because y'all know that bond is on a level. So I feel 100% where you come from.
So, we got a job to nurture that type of environment.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
The man called his wife's name Hawa because she became the
I thought
mother.
he called her Isha.
Guess he was angry with her about that point.
I'm serious. You know what I mean? Earlier it said that, she was called
Isha.
Isha.
Right.
And after this happened, she's called Hawa. Because she's the mother of all the living. Right? We're going to dig too deep into it. Just let it marinate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when people undergo name changes,
Say that.
that means character is changing.
Come on.
Character is changing.
That's right.
Okay? Let's see.
And Yahuwah Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. And Yahuwah Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil.
Oh,
One of us.
everybody ain't worried about Elohim again.
Uh-oh. Open it up, open it up.
Alright? So, I mean, and to be honest with you, like if you read, if you ever get into like Psalms 82, that kind of gets into the divine counsel, you know what I'm saying, if you will, if you kind of want to go there, but Psalms 82 is a really good book to read, to capture that type of imagery, alright? But anyway, Tosi, about you.
And now, lest he put out his hand and take also the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. So Yahuwah Elohim set him out of the garden of Eden, to till the ground from which he was taken. And he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim at the east of the garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way, to guard the way to the tree of life.
Now remember, Moreh Baruch did a good lesson about the tree of life. Y'all remember that? Oh, y'all wasn't here. Sorry if you missed it. I can't teach you what he taught, but the bottom line is there's a very good point that he made about the children of Israel that went into the land of the promised land because they didn't know what?
They didn't know the knowledge of good and evil.
They didn't know the knowledge of good and evil.
Right.
Think about that.
I remember
They
that.
didn't know the knowledge of good and evil. Yada means to be very intimate with, right? You know your Ish, you know your Isha, whatever the case may be. You're intimate with that person mentally, and y'all know the rest. Okay? But they did not know the knowledge of good and evil. Therefore, they could enter into the promised land. Now, what was it, you know, if we take that point, what was the surrounding influence at that time for them? It was a whole lot of stuff that was going on, right? You know, they heard, their family members complaining, tripping. You know, this is going on. That's the type of counsel that was in their environment.
Who you been listening to?
Who you been listening to? You listening to people that, hey man, you won't die. Or, you know, Moshe not all of that. He not all of that. Now, who Aharon think he is?
You hear him talking? Come on. You hear this?
It's stuff like, man, you know what? Yeah, this food is good, right? But look, in Mitzrayim, we had fish, we had leeks, we had melons, we had onions.
Big Macs, waffles.
Big Mac.
But you know what? You brought us out here to kill us. That was the counsel that was going on. Now, he found you in the desert, in waste, and howling wilderness, and formed you. And the Ruach of Elohim hovered over the face of the deep. You were the apple of the Most High's eye. Through his word, you became his. That's why he said, you are mine. I have called you by name. This is your job. Do that. Do this. You'll be good to go. If you don't, aka get into all other types of counsel. See, the story hasn't changed.
That's right.
It has not changed. And through your obedience, right, what you'll wind up doing is you'll teach everybody else how to level up. You will serve and you will protect the earth. Adam, your primary function is to serve and protect. So there wasn't anybody in the earth, you know what I'm saying, to till the ground and work it and make sure it's good to go. So mankind, Adam, that's your job. Make it happen.
Come on. Yep.
This right here, I'm giving you laws, statutes, and commandments. And that when people see you, they're going to say, what nation is there that has laws that's good as these?
That's right.
These laws that allow life just to spring up. See? It hasn't changed. Only you've changed. Only you have taken part in another type of counsel, or you know, a different type of conversation, or undergone, I'm gonna say a mindset that probably isn't necessarily functional. Got that look back there, Aki.
Don't say private. You know what ain't funny. Come on.
No, I'm with you. Is this how the scriptures is written? I'm a little baffled. It's something I think I gotta dig a little bit more. And
Okay.
maybe I'll just make this statement. In verse 7, their eyes were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and make themselves aprons.
Right.
Then it goes down as we go to, where is it? 10. He said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked.
There you go.
But you made yourself, you covered yourself. And even when he came in, he said, hey, I'm naked. So it was just something that I thought I need to dig a little bit deeper to get a better understanding of.
Watch this. Let's watch this. Go to bereshit 21.
Bereshit 21.
21.
Come on,
Verse
19?
Verse 19.
Yeah, let me get that.
Sefer Bereshit, book of Genesis, chapter 21, verse 19. And Elohim opened her eyes.
What?
Opened her eyes.
Who is this? Who is that? Keep
Hagar.
reading. Hagar. Right?
And she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink.
So check this out, right? Everybody remember this scenario, this picture with Hagar, right? She goes out, and here's the thing, right? The terminology that we're using is to open the eyes in a double sense, right? And it's like the best way for me to explain it, right? Let's just say like an aha moment. An aha moment. Something that, normally or probably really isn't disclosed, right? If you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you came in when we was talking about this, but earlier it said that they were naked and they were not ashamed. You follow? They were naked and they were not ashamed. But after they partake of this, now they're naked, right? Now you gotta hide. So what is the act of shamefulness? What does that do to the mind? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on in their intellect at this point? Because now you know something that it's got you feeling some kind of way.
Convicted.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and if I, I'm gonna put it like this, right? Let's just say, if I have to make an analogy, let's just say that if, and they heard the voice of the Most High they heard the voice walking in the garden in the cool of the day, right? I'm gonna say to hear that, that's like, to me, I would suggest that that's the highest form of connectivity that you can have with the Creator. It's no different than in the temple, right? Which is why the temple cannot be unclean. There can't be any impurities in the temple because what? You distort the connectivity level.
Right.
That's why there has to be an atonement made by the high priest annually, right? For all the imperfections that are brought into the temple. Because through imperfection, you know what I'm saying, you become blind and you become deaf. We have, you don't have to do anything, but I would highly suggest and encourage that you got to know that you are more than just the physical shell that's here.
Come on.
You got to know that. If your soul, your greater man, your higher self, has ever tasted the experience of drawing closer to the Most High, it's kind of like when you go to Israel, for some people that's been, nope, I'm going to say the people that I know, can we ever explain that to you? You can't explain it. All you know is that it's familiar and you don't want to let it go. And that experience is unique to each and every individual. I can't tell you what it feels like. I can only express to you that now you're knocking on the door of being connected with your Creator. And when you're connected with Yah, right? You told me, yo, you can hear, you can see, you can move accordingly. As opposed to, when you sit in your room every night, what do I gotta do? I read your word every day, and I still don't know. I come out to Sabbath class every week, and I still don't know. That can, I would suggest that, so like this, right? In law, if A, then B, all right? You got two idealisms here, right? If this exists, then this exists, right? And let's just say one component is, you know what? I'll do it like this. All men, right, are mortal beings. Everybody follow me? That's part A. Yazakar is a man. Therefore, he's
Mortal being.
a mortal man. You follow me?
Yeah.
So we did a little deductive reasoning right there, right, to capture the idea. All right? Connection with the Creator, right, is at the top of the list. Yazakar is not connected. Therefore, so it's putting things in, you know, I would say expressly what I'm dealing with, Aki, or what we could look at that as being connected. You follow me? Being connected, connecting with Yah. I'm telling you, when you feel it, you know, there's nothing else you want. I don't know how to explain that to you. I can only suggest that I encourage everybody that that's the type of environment that we got to nurture up in here.
Okay.
So when counsel goes forward, there's a way and there's a method that counsel should go forward. So if, I'm going to say if a method of whispering and hissing and divination, and here's the thing, right? This word, man, Nakash, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it means to be experienced. Not a dummy by fault.
Come on.
You follow me? So even this sounds good. That don't mean it's
Good.
function.
Function.
Come on.
Count.
You follow what I'm saying back there, Hop? So, we elevating our minds here. That's what we got. We elevating our minds. This only goes back to the dust from which it was created.
Come on.
What's up with the soul, though? All right. Go ahead, Aki.
Oh, no.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay, so what you say, so you're saying he's wise, but he's not functional. The Natasha, this serpent.
No, he's very functional.
Okay, no mind.
He does exactly what he's supposed to do.
He did exactly what he was supposed to
Okay.
do.
You understand what I'm saying?
Understood.
That job is to present curiosity.
Okay.
But see, here's the faculty of it all. We were created with the ability to rationalize.
And we didn't use it.
You understand what I'm saying? We were created with that ability. Animals, they don't have no moral compass. They do what they do. They don't have no moral compass. Humans do. So yeah, why did you create us like this? It's for an experience, and every experience is unique. But, that's where we at. Alright? Go ahead, Aki. Let's get back to it.
Chapter 4. And Adam knew Hawa his wife. And she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gained a man, Yahuwah. And again, she gave birth to his brother, Habel. And Habel became a keeper of sheep, but Cain became a tiller of the ground. And it came to be, in the course of time, that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuwah.
I know this is everybody's favorite part right here. Okay, keep reading.
And Habel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And Yahuwah looked to Habel and his offering. But he did not look to Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his face fell. And
Why? What's wrong with him?
What was wrong with his offering?
No, I said what's wrong with him? Why has his countenance fallen?
Jealousy?
It didn't say he was jealous.
He didn't say.
Offering wasn't being accepted.
He must have been confident and got let down.
I say it again.
He was confident and got let down.
He was confident and he got let down. Okay, all right. Okay,
That's not it?
let's keep reading. So let's write it up here, right? I like this right here because just say for all intents and purposes, what we dealing with right here is offerings, right? You know, what's the purpose of offerings? Rhetorical. Just think about it, all right? Tosi Baki.
Yahweh said to Cain, "Why is he wroth towards you? Why is your face fallen? Is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? And if you do not do good, towards the door is a sin. He is lying, and towards you is his desire, and you must rule over him."
Must.
Hold on. If you do well, won't you be regarded? And then there's a discourse that sin. It uses the word katat. Okay? All it means is to miss. It means to miss the mark. Okay? If I'm supposed to be a certain place and I miss the mark, right? That's how it's described contextually. You miss the mark. Okay? So, in other words, the ability to mess up or the ability to go outside of the path, so to speak, is always at the door. But what?
But you must rule over him.
You need to rule over that. So what does that teach us?
Like you said, like we all that's self-inflicted, so we just gotta guard our minds.
Discipline.
Struggle.
Discipline.
Sin is defeatable, bye.
It is. So I'll put it to you like this. We do not have to miss the mark. You don't have to.
Come on, that's right, Aki, come on.
You follow me? That's the principle that we're dealing with, the principle of discipline. Right? So, Cain offered an offering, Havel offered an offering. Right? But you know what? Offerings, what they often describe is intent. What does intent mean? Somebody get that for me? What does the word intent mean? Go ahead, Aki.
The reasons behind your actions.
What?
The reasons behind your actions.
The reasons behind what you do. Okay? Keep it.
And Cain told Havel his brother. And it came to be when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Havel his brother and killed him. And Yahweh said to Cain, "Where is Havel your brother?" And he said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?"
Yeah, you your brother's keeper.
Okay.
What do you mean? Yes, you are your brother's keeper. So later on, it might read something like, "And you shall love what?
Your
Brother,
neighbor.
your neighbor like yourself.
You love your neighbor as you love yourself." Meaning, I want for you what I want for myself.
Shalom.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. Sin has no power over you unless you give it that type of power. It's the same thing with idols.
That's right. That's
Idols are nothing outside of the power you give it.
You energize that.
You know what I'm saying?
Kind, just like that.
Sin or missing the mark doesn't have to rule over you.
That's right. That's
you
right.
shall rule over it.
That's right.
Remember, the Most High told Adam in the very beginning of what we were reading, right? you shall have dominion and rulership over
That's right.
all that you survey.
Uh-huh.
What else?
So would you say an idol's like an avatar, sort of? That is the embodiment of which you want it to be?
It's whatever you want it to be,
Okay.
right? So, you know, if polo is bad and it's an idol, that's because that's what you want it to be.
Come on.
Same thing with anything else. You know, and I'm really trying to, you know, evolve beyond some of the things that, you know, I got you, Aki. I'm trying to evolve beyond some of the things that we kind of place in this box. Seriously. Right? I mean, think about it. If the prophet said they were nothing, why are you saying that it's something?
That's right. Come on.
Why? Just something to think about.
Come on, make it real now, make it real.
So?
Okay, so it's very safe to insert that as we are progressing along, that not only is evolution beginning, but we also have science that is well equipped in this, because what you just described is your subconscious mind. The control that you as a man think of, so is he. So what you think is the energy that you send up, and it is not necessarily, it's not a law that you might see written per se, but the Most High puts certain energies in existence that what you put out is going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Period. There's a period behind that. It's not a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
If you think a certain way, 9 times out of 10, what you think is going to happen back to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you perform or do something against someone, it is eventually going to come back on you in some way, form, or fashion to make the fair and just weights and measures that we're going to learn about as we get deeper into our Torah season. So I just wanted to, I guess, get that as an insert, because we're listening to science going right now. We're talking about things of the mind. So it's very, I think that's a very important thing to consider, because it started in the garden.
Right. Right.
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning, right? And from the very beginning, you know what? Most High is all about this right here. What's sits on the seat of your intellect? What drives you? You know what I mean? So it's like this, right? I like this story, man, Kazak, he did this analogy one time, right? How would you know what ugly is if you didn't think you were ugly? If you didn't know what ugly was. Like, why would that even be a thing?
Right.
How would you know you were naked if that wasn't even a thing?
Right.
Come on now.
So, you see, you concern yourself with things that are not even things. In fact, they're nothing.
Come on.
So what kind of power do you got really then?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if we got the power to do that, imagine what type of power we have when we stand on the side of righteousness and start doing things right.
Continuous.
You know what I'm saying? What kind of power does that allow us to have within our midst? See? So somebody ever tells you, brother, sister, you know, sin is in you.
Mm-hmm.
Sin may be present, but that's not my ill.
Come on. Born sinners.
You're born with the ability to make a choice.
Say it again, just like that.
That's what you're born with.
Come on.
You can choose to do good, or you can choose not to.
That's right.
It's up to you.
That's right.
Let no man, woman, child say that, you know what? You were tempted of Elohim.
Come on. It's all your lap.
Because the Creator says, choose life.
Come on.
So if you really have to get down to it, you are already told to do what's right.
Come on.
That means you said, what did it cost you? Surely you won't die. You know, maybe you can cut a corner on this wise, you know, and you still gonna come up. Right? But how many decisions have we made in times past that we still dealing with the after effects of that decision now.
Come on.
And you like,
Every day.
if I, and then, it's kind of interesting, right? You always, I don't know how many people this happens to, but you always get this still voice like, you remember when I told you that? You remember? I said, what's his name, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
And they said X, Y, and E, like, man, they told me.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I did it anyway. I did it anyway.
Come on.
Make it real. Come on, Maury, make it real. That's right.
Hush. Missing the mark. Tosi Faki.
And he said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth." And Cain said to Yahuwah, "My punishment is too great to bear. See, you have driven me from the face of the ground today, and I am hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and it shall be that anyone who finds me kills me." And Yahuwah said to him, "Well, if anyone kills Cain, vengeance is taken on him sevenfold." And Yahuwah set up a sign for Cain, lest anyone finding him strikes him. So Cain went out from the presence of Yahuwah and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Canaan. And he built a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son Canaan. And to Canaan was born Arad, and Arad brought forth Mekuyael, and Mekuyael brought forth Methusael, and Methusael brought forth Lamech. And Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Yabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents with livestock. And his brother's name was Ubal. He was the father of all those who played the lyre and flute. As for Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, a smith of all kinds of tools in bronze and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, "Hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my words, for I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. For Cain is avenged sevenfold, and Lamech 77-fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Sheth. For Elohim has appointed me another seed instead of Habel, because Cain had killed him. And to Sheth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. Then it was begun to call the name of Yahuwah." Chapter 5. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of Elohim. Male and female he created them. And he blessed them and called their name Adam, or mankind, in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his
Hold
image.
up. Now, well, read this verse right here, real quick.
And brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Sheth.
So wait a minute. Now notice, Seth and his sons, they are the image and likeness of Adam.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that?
What's your question? I'm sorry.
My question is, why are we told that? Why are we told that Seth is made in the image and likeness of Adam?
And nobody else was.
Didn't say anything about it, It didn't mention anything else about that to anyone else. And then it's getting ready to go through Seth's genealogy.
Adam was serving the Most High.
Huh? Say again?
Adam was serving the Most High.
Say something similarly too. like likeness would be the character of, so maybe he exhibited the character of Adam more so than the previous two.
All right. Okay. But if you're the character of Adam, what's Adam's character at this point?
Come on now.
He's kind of right. I mean, because he did with the creator, so
Adam is in the image and likeness of Elohim.
There you go.
Facts.
There you go.
But what happened to Cain and Abel?
Maybe it has something to do with her. With that.
You think it has something to do with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, throw her under the bus.
Anything we see at this point about is something we make up. We really don't have the knowledge of this. Adam and Eve ate of the fruit of good and evil. The knowledge. Ate of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. Eve bore 2 sons, Cain and Abel. Adam was in the image and likeness of Elohim. There is nothing that says that there wasn't in the image of the likeness of Adam either. We just knew that it was children of Adam. These are children of Adam. And then along comes Seth. Later down the line, we don't know if Seth was born right after Abel was killed. We don't know this is just a genealogy. We don't know how this plays out. And then it says, well, he's born in the image of Adam. Well, we know Adam is the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. We know that. We know he says that, and when we spiritualize, we say Adam was born in the image. Adam was born in the image of the Most High. But that don't mean that anybody that comes through the lineage of Adam was born in the image of the Most High. Unless we step off the wagon and says that Eve had children for somebody else. So that's another theory that we come through that may or may not even be factual or true. We be guessing at all of this stuff.
So let me say this, right? What I'm highlighting is the fact that there's no segment in the Tanakh that's just written just because, right? I can't assume that the same statement applies to the other children because why not tell us? Right? What makes Seth different?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Seth is in the image and likeness of Adam, who at this time, right, his character is somewhat changed. Right? It doesn't say that he's no longer in the image and likeness of Elohim. But let us create mankind in the image and likeness of Elohim. That's what Adam means, right? So thereby, you know what I'm saying, seed, right, or progeny, it should follow that same sequencing, right? It should. So it's no different than, let's just say my granddad had light brown eyes, my dad had light brown eyes, I got light brown eyes, so on and so forth, right? It's following a specific genetical code, right? Genetics, right? Whatever the image and likeness of Elohim is what it is. That's what Adam was fashioned in, right? His son Seth, okay, is fashioned in his image and in his likeness, which we know at this point is different. So, not going too much into it, right? I would suggest we examine what image and what likeness is. Because it's pointing, it's telling us something. Man's nature has changed. And then it goes on so as to list his genealogy. Well, why not the genealogy of anybody else? They didn't have children. They just sat on the earth and was just like, hey, what's up? Was it kind of like that? That can get into some theoretical conjecture, but what we dealing with right now?
Why did we find out what was happening with Laman before we went into what the character of Seth was?
You feel me?
Because he said he killed a man for hurting him.
Okay.
I mean, let's be serious. Like, you stepped on my sneaker right now. It's almost.
You gotta
like
get it.
that.
You know what I'm saying?
So and then he's like saying, okay, my father guy, okay, I'm repping that. Something that should be a shame, be like, oh yeah, Pop's got 7, I got 2 more 7s with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever the judgment that's upon him, he's wearing it like a badge of honor. He's totally cruel. So, okay, we have this totally cruel dude. Now let's show you somebody else's character.
Exactly. So what we dealing with? We're dealing with different characters unfolding. And at the end of this, you know what I'm saying, there's a statement that's going to be read altogether different. You know what I'm saying, that I'll tie it back into this at the end of it. But I want you to capture that thought. You got some people that's got some stuff going on. Right? They've stepped outside of what we talked about earlier. They stepped outside of function. Okay? Seth. I got something. Anybody know what Seth's name means?
Look it up.
Come on, y'all.
Come on.
Hook me up.
Destruction of all.
It means compensation.
It sure does.
Seth's name means compensation. Okay? So we can deal with that later. But go ahead, Akeem, real quick.
So should we infer? I was gonna just say Havel, but should we infer anybody born between Adam and Seth? They had similar characters. Should we infer that? So and I said Havel because his offering was accepted. But so between the first kids and then Shet, should we infer that they had similar characters?
You could make that conjecture. You could.
So then we shouldn't say necessarily that they had a raw character per se. They just had something different than Shet.
They were different. I'm not gonna say, to say something is evil that the scripture doesn't say that it's evil. Right. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, I just
but their character is different.
Right. Okay.
Okay? Their character is different. All right? And it's highlighting something to us. Seth is in the image and likeness of his Abba. So, just, because then we're going to start, the reason why I'm saying this is because it's going to tie into something else. The sons of Elohim and the daughters of men. And so many things kind of breed out of the text that, a lot of us create them, but it's not really there. So, that's kind of why I'm asking these questions, not to put the cart before the horse, but that's why I'm at. All right? Come on, let's finish this out.
And Adam lived 130 years and brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And after he brought forth Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years and brought forth Enosh. And after he brought forth Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. Then Enosh lived 99 years and brought forth Canaan. And after he brought forth Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and brought forth Mahalalel. And after he brought forth Mahalalel, Canaan lived 840 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and brought forth Yared. And after he brought forth Yared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Yared lived 162 years and brought forth Canuk. And after he brought forth Canuk, Yared lived 800 years, brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Yared were 962 years, and he died. And Canuk lived 65 years and brought forth Methuselah. And after he brought forth Methuselah, Canuk walked with Elohim 300 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Canuk were 365 years. And Canuk walked with Elohim. Then he was no more, for Elohim took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and brought forth Lamech. And after he brought forth Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and brought forth a son, and called his name Noach, saying, This one does comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah had cursed. And after he brought forth Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noach was 500 years old, and Noach brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to be, chapter 6, and it came to be, when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good. And they took wives for themselves, of all whom they chose. And Yahuwah said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years.
So here, man, we already have, a clear distinction of character, right? It says that, it says that, Most High says, his ruach shall not strive with man continually, right? Mm-hmm. Now, obviously there's some different thoughts that's going on amongst creation at this point. We got a group of, murder has taken place, right? Just the genuine care for your brother is like kind of out the window, okay? And then, even in that, through, I'll say this, right? If you kind of look at those names that's listed in the genealogy, it kind of gives you a message if you want to take a look at that, right? From, who was it? Seth? No, not Seth. Yeah, from Seth all the way to Noah, if I'm not mistaken. Just look at all those names and see what kind of is put together through that. And at the end of it all, it says that comfort is going to come, right? Into the earth. Names all mean something. So that's just a point of reference, okay? Now, why does it need to be, if we could take that, why does comfort need to now come into the earth?
Some chaos out there.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
Right? And as we progress and we go through the following portions, right? Mankind's connection with the Creator has been severed. Right? So many different things have taken place. And you can't say that was the original design. I mean, I wouldn't say that. Okay? Finish this out right quick, and then we'll go.
Okay. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days,
right?
And also afterward, when the sons of Elohim came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
That means man's purpose has become deviant.
Okay.
Right? What was the primary function and purpose of mankind?
Protect and serve.
Serve and protect. Right? His function has now become perverted. You follow what I'm saying? That, it says Yetzer, right? Yetzer is just a word that means, it can mean inclination, it can mean purpose, right? Ezer Connecto, I'm sorry, Aki. Ezer Connecto, right? She's made skillfully to be in opposition to your wisdom, right? You serve and protect, she's a helpmeet. Life is good. Be fruitful, multiply, obey. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the 7th day, enjoy the blessing.
Okay.
Right? So you got a distinguished purpose. But You stepped outside the purpose now. And now the purpose has become deviant continually. Follow what I'm saying? But there are still some, right, that do listen. Let's see if I can.
Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Yahuwah said, I am going to wipe off man, whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, and that's the portion, everybody.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, now we can do a brief Q&A. All right.
I wanted to, I got a question. I want to make a statement about that genealogy. When we're referencing Seth, which in Hebrew is actually pronounced Sheikh. Cohen Shepniah in Charlotte, that's what his father named him. The me, one of the spellings for of is the mem with the e sound of it, Shepniah, which means anointed of Yah.
Okay.
So I wanted to, I just wanted to insert that the Hebraic thought process of Seth is, like you said, Sheikh, Shep, however you want to pronounce it. And taking it all the way back to the very beginning, I just wanted clarity on what you broke down a complete day cycle to be. As it was repeated in the first 5 days, there was evening, there was morning, day one, so forth and so on. Then there was a distinction made between the greater light being the light that governed the day, and the lesser light was the light that governed the night. What constitutes a day, based upon what you taught earlier?
So let's go back to it, right? What constitutes a day? It says that there was evening, and there was morning. All right. So we look at some words in Hebrew, right? Good question. Evening. Anybody know that word?
Go ahead.
Yeah. What does the word Erev mean?
Evening.
Mixture.
Mixture of what?
Lights.
Mixture. Right? So, you want to know what's interesting? This same color pattern, right? If you take this concept of the Erev, which is the mixture of light and darkness, right? It's the same colors that you see that Yisrael utilized in the construction of the tabernacle. Right? And now, it has different vocabulary that's utilized later on down the line, right? But think about it. When the sun sets today, go take a look outside and look at the mixture of how you get that transitioning period from night to day and vice versa. So there was evening, right? And then there was what?
Morning.
Which is
that same mixture. It's that same mixture, isn't it?
No.
Or not the same like as nighttime, but like the transition from the night to the morning, is that considered?
So the transitional period is the air, right? That's when you see light and you see dark. Everybody's seen that, right? Now, Boker is morning. And if I have to break this down by quadrants of like with some math or whatever the case may be, I will. But the Boker normally consists of how many hours?
12.
Is it 12? When is it actually considered Boker?
Okay, I see what you're saying. We're not talking about the totality of daylight. Your question is morning itself, the essence of morning.
What is the essence of morning? Okay? And then we come into what? No.
Oh, Edit?
Yo, today.
The day, right? Yom, and then you come into what? The Edit again, and then you go into the night. Right? Now, it's the closing of one day and the entering into the next day.
At what point?
At night. So, for an example, right?
Thank you.
When do you eat the Pesach?
In the evening.
Dusk.
No, that's
Between.
slaying.
Between.
Is at night. The slaying
Right.
is at the
That's
end.
right, you're right.
In the mixture, right? So technically that would be day what?
One.
One.
No.
It's the same day.
Listen to me. The day counting, right? When do we observe the Pesach? On what day?
14.
On the 14th. The Edom is technically what?
The 13th.
That's a mixture, whoa.
You think it's hard.
What day is that?
Oh,
It's still the same day.
The 13th.
The fourth.
If we do this on the 14th, right? And you're in the mixture, are we in the 13th or are we in the 14th?
Still that same day.
13th.
No, you're in the 14th still. You don't come until the
Because it's still,
15th.
it's not,
Because
it's a
when do you,
mixture. I see
when
what
do
you're
you
saying.
eat it?
At night.
At night.
At night, right?
I
So
got
what
you.
day is that?
It's not, it's nothing. You're in limbo.
Are you in limbo?
You're,
Or
you're
you
in between, you're in that transitional period.
Well, you're
Because
in
it's
the
not
edit.
night and it's not day.
you're in the Edom you're in the transitional period,
13 to 14.
right? When you slay. When you eating,
You're in
it's
the
at
next day.
nighttime.
I got you.
It's the light, right? So you got a
Right.
period of night, and then you come into what? The boat.
Where?
Well, no. Actually, you go back into the
It's
the
gonna-
mixture again,
Right.
and then you'll come into the boat
As it blends into the
as it
actual
blends
yom.
in,
All right.
right? Go ahead, Aki.
And for this cycle right here, just to add, just to answer Yeshia's question regarding the mixture between the
Boker.
Lila and the Boker, it's called a Shakur.
Okay.
And Morey Baru and Morey Malak did a lesson on that. But it's called Shakur. So evening is only the Erev, and then between the Lila and between Boker is it's called Shakur.
Okay.
Yeah, just look it up. It's there.
Okay.
So. Just to let them know what it was.
So if I want to make sure let me address this first, right? The concept of Yom day, right? If I have Edeb over here, and let's just say this is the 14th, and then I have Edeb over here, and let's just say this is the
The 15th.
the 15th, right? In between Edeb and Yom, what do you got?
Bokuya.
Yeah, right.
Between Yom and the next Edeb, what do you have? Because that would be what part of the day?
Lila?
Not like
No,
Okay. I'm listening to you.
no, the average, a red.
Hmm?
That still would be a red.
Well, Edeb is here, right? So we're dealing with cycles of the day,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I knew this was gonna happen. So from Edeb to Boker, right?
Yeah,
Morning,
right.
okay? So let's just say this is, let's say 5,
But we can't.
0, 500,
Okay.
right? Sun rises, let's just say for all intents and purposes, 8 o'clock. Well, maybe early.
0600.
Okay, you want to do 0, 6?
0300.
0, 6. From 6 to about what time is morning?
10.
Okay, so you want to do 10. Right? That could be considered bouquet, right? The day is around what time? 12, right? All right, from 12 to what time?
Back to
Depending on what
we
time of
do.
season.
Because this is the afternoon, right? So what's that? What's that normally called?
The after.
I'm talking about, that's Zohar that noon. And then
So what
Yeah.
bridges the two Arabs, right, is the light. Does it not? On one side of the night,
There was evening, there was morning.
right, evening, and there was morning. And then there was what?
Evening.
Oh, it says there was evening, and there was morning,
Then
and
the
there
first
was one
day.
day.
One day, that's
Right? But what it doesn't tell you is it doesn't talk about the rest of the cycles of the day. So what are the other cycles of the day?
components of the day, right?
Right? So you have the Laila, which is the night. Right?
Mhm.
And that's a period of time. You have the Boker, you have the Yom, and then you have the afternoon. Right? Which bleeds into the next Edit, which is the following mixture. And then in the mixture you go into night. And then you go back into Edit.
Lila, Erev, Zoharayim, Erev,
Laila, Edit.
all the different components of
All
one
the
day.
so if you want to classify a day, right? Okay? And this is where it kind of gets into different schools of thought. If you want to classify a day, are you classifying the entire cycle? Or you only classifying the period of when the sun is up?
When the light, right.
When the light is up. Because it says that there was evening, there was morning,
It's one day.
and that's a day. Right? But what it doesn't tell us is, it doesn't tell us about this cycle of the day, which is nighttime.
Correct.
Let me read that.
Agree.
Let's go back to it. Go to Bereshit. Let's go read it.
Agree.
Let's go to Bereshit, go to Bereshit 1:8. Or you know what? 1:5.
The fair Bereshit, book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 5.
Good question.
And Elohim called the light day.
So or is called what?
The light is just called Yom.
Or he called the light, what did he call that?
He called it Yom.
He called it day.
Right.
Yom. Okay, read it again.
And Elohim called the light day. And the darkness he called night.
And the Choshek he called night.
Right.
Okay? So let's just say this is day. Let's say this is night. Alright? What was there?
Evening.
And there came to be evening. And there came to be morning.
Boker. Right? There came to be evening.
There came to
Came to be
be
morning. And then what was there?
one day.
There was one day. Right? But night is on the opposite side of the spectrum, is it not?
Okay.
Is that consistent of the day or not? So, a westernized thought is we come into the next day at 12 o'clock, midnight, right? But Hebraic thought is you come into the next day, right?
In the edit.
When you're coming out of one day and you're entering into the next day, right? So, the fullness of the night is entering into the next day because you're going to transition into the edit. Are you not?
Okay.
That's the cycle of a day.
Okay.
But again, like I said, is where people kind of differ in opinion is, do you classify the day only to be when the sun is up, right? Or do you classify the whole cycle of a day?
You're talking about 24 hours opposed to about 12 hours, more or less.
Well,
Hold up.
hold on, Iman, 1 second. Well, here's the thing. So, when you got seasonal changes, you don't have the same amount of daylight in the spring than you do in the fall.
Sure.
You got less daylight, right?
Okay.
So how do you account for that?
That's true.
These are a lot of different components that, it doesn't explain to us, right? But what we do know is, on either side of the day, you got two periods when there's a mixture in the day, right? As you're coming into a day, and as you're going out. There's two mixtures. And then from that point on, as soon as the sun rises, you got the morning, you got noonday, you got the afternoon, then you go into another mixture, and then you're at night. That's what we know. Everybody follow me? Everybody not following? Okay, go ahead with your question, Sean.
But at this point, he hadn't even created the lights to rule the days and to rule.
Well, it says that the sun is going to, so he's asking me about a day, not about what's created, right? So he said, I've given the greater light, which we know to be the sun, that rules the day. I've given the lesser light that rules the night. Right? What it doesn't kind of go into, it doesn't go into the time expanse of how it all transitions.
All right.
It doesn't go into that. But what it did say is that the lights, the arot, which is, it's plural, so that means that you have the greater light and the lesser light, right? What are they supposed to be for? Signs, appointed times, and what else? Days, and what else? Years. So I could not exclude one from the other because it says what they are both functioning for. That's what it said. Did it not?
Okay.
So, what does constitute a day? How shall we define the cycle?
Using in the morning.
Let's go back up, right? Hey, we'll read it again, right? Give me that part. Give me the part with the yeah.
Verse 5. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. There came to be evening, there came to be morning, one day.
So go to verse 14.
Verse 14. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens, to separate the day from the night.
So the sun separates the moon, right? So there's a clear distinction, right? And that's a half, if you will. Everybody following that? That's a half.
Light from the dark.
Okay? This is a good question. I like
Yeah, I'm glad you do, because you're making me more confused than I was before I walked in here.
Well,
It's a process.
The sun separates the day from the night.
from the night. That's what it does.
That's what it does.
But they're both lights.
Right.
Yeah,
One is greater,
And
one is lesser.
right.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. What everybody else is getting kind of hung up on is
Daytime,
the terminology.
nighttime.
You getting hung up on Boker, Yom, Lila. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we're describing, they describe the totality of what's known as a day. So in a day, there's transitional periods. Some of those transitional periods are Erev, Boker, right? The afternoon, the night. Welcome to the complete cycle of a day. Now, however you kind of break that down into whatever you conceptualize, I guess that would be on the beholder, right? But what we know according to the scriptures is that there's two lights, distinctive from the other, and in that cycle are different parameters for how the day is described.
And the purposes of these lights.
Right.
Which goes beyond just lighting the night sky or the daytime and so forth.
So, and it said what the purpose was for. Seasons, days, years. All of those hints, when we get to the Pesach, there's something that you do between the evenings, there's something that you do at night, and then there's something that you don't let go past the morning. You remember that?
Right.
Why? Because that's going into the...
Next day.
Were you going to take it with you? No, you were not.
No. So I guess when you talking about being on several days journey, knowing that they didn't have Apple Watches, they didn't have any gauges, what were they relying on to say, okay, we traveled one day? I'm just saying.
I would say that, you know what, they had to rely on their environment. I think that our ancestors were trained in astronomy and astrology. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they worshipped it. What I am saying is they were very familiar with their surroundings.
They were in tune with it.
You know what I'm saying? There's no other way to explain it.
And the components of this cycle, because
Right.
as you're walking, when you're looking at these mixtures and so forth and so on, you're actually acknowledging, okay, we walked one day and so forth and so on. So.
Did I answer your question? Okay. Another question? Go ahead.
What did you said Arab.
Edit.
Come on. What are the meanings of Arab? Like, what are all the words that go with Arab?
So an Arab covers it just covers usually just a general term, just to mean the mixture.
Mixture.
That's it. It just means the mixture. Right? Hold on. Okay, you still
I want to go to
That's my, that
here
was
as well. Okay, so my question to you is, okay, the Most High called the day Yom, correct?
Okay.
called the light.
Called the light.
He called the light Yom.
Yep.
Okay. And then later on, we read in 5, towards the end, he says, in the evening and the morning were the first Yom, correct?
First day.
So now my question to you is, if he called it a Yom, and also in that same verse, he gives you day and night, and then he says the evening and the morning were the first day. Then if he called it Yom, why not call the day evening?
Why not call the day evening?
Yeah.
That's a man-made term.
I guess I'm trying to.
So what I'm getting at is the name is Yom.
Yom has duality.
For a whole, for
So
first day.
So this is the answer to your question. The greater light, right, rules the lesser light.
It has a duality meaning.
It can't.
That's what it is.
It can't.
Because like, I can say, I read the story, spelled the same way, R-E-A-D. Then I turn around and say, oh yeah, I read the story, R-E-A-D. How would you know which one I'm talking about if I don't give
Syntax.
you the explanation of it?
In the
So in the one part, he called the light day, all right? Then when he was distinguishing between the light and the dark, okay, then he called it one day.
Right.
Okay, so you have to know the context in which he's using it. Because at first he said that, oh, the light is called Yom. We know Yom to be a day. But when he went on and further explained everything that he did, he said there was evening, and then there was morning. That was one day.
Entire day.
So he went through the whole cycle, but he left out, like I'll just explain, some parts was left out. It depends on how you're using the word. That word has two meanings.
And I agree with you.
But you disagree with me.
And what I'm seeing is when he says evening and morning, that's the movement of the day in Yom. He called the day Yom. Let there be light.
The light
And in that same word, we know light as Yom, because later on he calls it Yom. He's saying the same thing. Let there be light. Let there be Yom.
So I'll say this right here, Aki. Let me do this. Because there's several different ways to approach this, right? I think that, no, it's all good. It's a good question. And I'm going to tell you why it's a good question. Because from this springs several different thoughts about how to observe this.
Right.
Okay.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not a bad question, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of goes into a lot of different things told out for the question, right? Now I'm just gonna say this, okay? I think that we probably should expand our horizons when it comes to what the concept of the day is, right? In a day, there is kosher, there is edit, All these elements make up what we know as Yom. In Yom, there's a greater light. There's a lesser light. In Yom, the greater light rules the lesser light. It's still order. Right? No matter how you look at it, the sun is a light, the moon is a light. The stars are a faction of a light. Everybody follow what I'm saying? That is Yom. What we're doing is we're trying to scale it and say, well, at this faction of the day, this is this. At that faction of the day, this is this. You understand what I'm saying? When in fact, the creators, I'll say this. The scriptures don't tell us to do that. It just doesn't. Kind of lays it out exactly what it is. And then we see other examples of how people categorically did things throughout the cycle of a day. And I use the Pesach as an example because, it kind of gives you some hints as to, okay, well, this is probably what this time was, this is what that time was, so on and so forth. So, and remember, everything had to be done in what? Haste. Right? So if I know if I'm doing the slaughter between the evenings, right? And then I got to eat it at night, I got about how long to consume this meal?
Not long.
You don't got long. Right? And the rest of it, you know what you got to do. And the bottom line is nothing can stay beyond the morning. Alright? So that kind of gives us some imagery as to what the cycle of a day could have looked like. Does that make sense what I'm saying to everybody?
Makes sense. Next question.
Next question.
I got a question. This is a statement. I spoke to somebody too before, and they was like, we was talking.
You got a statement or you got a question?
It's a statement. We were talking, and the person has told me, they was like, yo, like, I forgot the specifics, but the whole thing that, like you said, is, a lot of words mean two different things. Just like how, like Iman read and read, but how you know what the word means, only way you're gonna know is you read the whole thing. You can't just read that one thing, and then try to discern what it is. You gotta read from the top to the bottom, because if words is used in different ways, you're gonna know how the word's being used if you read the whole text. You're gonna know that. So that's like a big thing. Like, we already know a lot of words in Torah means two different things. So how you gonna know? You just gotta read the text and you see it in the text.
Got another question.
Oh, I'm gonna agree with you. No, I'm agree with you. What I would say is, it was stated earlier that we got to look at the words and understand what the words are saying. I would recommend that everyone look at the words and really look at the words and what each word means and what each word is stating. Again, if we're all to walk one way, because that's one thing about the book is we're all in agreement on something. We all got to come to an agreement of what this is. So again, words do mean a lot. If we're talking about using the words and we're using stuff like concordance and stuff like that, and if we look at each word individually, you may change your thoughts about what a day is. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Next question.
I want to add in conjunction with that, don't just do it from what you see in the Greek language. Let's go into Hebrew and break down some of these meanings, because you're going to find that that's going to make a difference as well. I agree with you. This is an agreement statement, but I don't want to stay in this language that we're speaking right now, because this is not our language.
Yeah. Again, both languages.
Move on.
No, go ahead.
No, move on. Seriously.
Another question.
Next question.
You said Black Lives Matter.
Question would be, so why was it man created Toad?
Say what?
Why wasn't man created Toad?
You said he wasn't created too.
Well, after he lists everything in creation, it was Toad. It was Toad. It was Toad.
Sorry, it's hot. I'm not reading that. Go ahead.
But I mean,
It's hot. It's just how it's bred. But the 7th day he rested. Everything was created in a 6-day time period. It's just the way it reads that makes it sound like man wasn't created within that 6-day time period.
okay. But then why does it say it's not good for man to be alone? So that means it's outside of Toad. It's not raw. I mean, why would that be that?
It does say that man. He created them, man, that's what I was saying earlier. He created them, man and female. But female was, like, he was asexual. He was incompetent to us. He didn't have us. She was there, but she wasn't there. So now he has to put man to sleep to bring something out of him that's just like him, to be a help me.
Why wasn't she Toad?
She was told, he was told. Everything was told. Everything was told. It's just that when we decide to do what we're gonna do, or we seek knowledge, or curiosity gets the best of us, we're no longer told. And then the will to choose.
I might have read it different, like, and I know I was supposed to read it and he break by him at that time I was rushing. I wasn't feeling good, but it was a sustainable. Mate, was not, told, so in my mind it's like a good enough mate. I don't know, I'm just asking the questions.
Well, your question was, why wasn't man created Toad?
Correct, function.
I wouldn't say that's the case. Never said he wasn't created Toad.
Okay.
I would just say in the summation of creation, in day 6, it says that, it kind of gives this imagery that after looking at everything was totally made. Now, there is a coexistence where it says, well, you know what, well, it's not good, for man to be alone, right? Which, Cain, I got your point on that, right? And to enhance this, let me make this as well. You know what I mean? So I would say this, I see a duality in your statement. And if we go with the function of Toad being completely functional, I got you.
Correct. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I got you.
Next question, please.
I get it.
Next question.
That's like another thing that's kind of deep though.
Any more questions?
No more questions?
I got a question more already.
I got a question too,
When it's talking about the tree of knowledge and good and evil, how can it be evil if it was told, every day was told, or told may
So remember what I said, right? Told, we can draw that this means it's functional in its purpose. You know what I'm saying? So that's I don't want to get caught up on good as the English word good, as opposed to told as in it's functional. You say something is told, it's like, you know what? That's good for business right there.
That's a good stick.
It's good in what it does. So like like the kazir, right? The kazir was created. It's an unclean animal, but it's told in its function.
Okay.
Trash can.
Okay.
Right?
So when we're looking at, I want to use the English word. So when we're looking at the word ra, it has a good function.
When you're looking at the word ra,
The word.
which
would be told and ra.
Which would be evil, like that's what people.
Right. So in its function, it's told for what it does.
In the function, I would say in the function, if you look at ra is just out of function.
Right. Okay. Cool.
That's how I would look at it. That's how I would look at it. Out of function. And then, if you ever get a chance, look at how these words like good and evil kind of come about in, textual criticism and stuff like that. Just kind of look at that. All right, good, bad, blah, blah, blah. Either you functional or you not. Okay? Because even the adversary, which carries a negative connotation, was good in its function. Who's gonna go be a lying spirit?
Right.
To what?
Right.
To King Ahaz, right? I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
But that was told for that function because what had to come about as a result. Even when you get into the narrative of Shaitan.
Mm-hmm.
I was
You know,
on the precipice of putting my
I'm
hands
just
on
saying,
that
like,
one.
listen, I don't wanna get caught up in it, right?
Yeah.
Don't look at it as good in terms of the English connotation of good. You know, adversarial experiences, they do one or two things. They either bring out something greater in you, or you continue in that vein of thought. Right? Ultimately, in terms of, I'm gonna say, purpose outlined by the Creator, it's all good. What happened with Adam and Hawa, we would call it evil, but it ultimately is good for our purpose because we can learn from it and be better about it.
There you go.
You follow what I'm saying? Here serves as an example of what happens when you step out of character, when you step out of function. Learning that story was told.
Mm-hmm.
What happened could be viewed as out of function. Some might even call it evil. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Right? But in essence, it's like, you know, it's like what you meant for evil, the Most High meant for good.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Question.
Most High said, all is told mayo.
I'm gonna take one more after this.
The Most High said, all is told mayo, right? Including the Nakash. Nakash was serving its purpose, right? Nakash was functional. Why would if everything was very good, including Nakash, and it did its purpose, why would it receive a consequence or a punishment later on?
Good question.
So, if the Nakash was good in its purpose, you know what I'm saying, why would it receive a consequence? I think that kind of bleeds over into two thoughts, right? I think it kind of bleeds over into Nakash, and Nakash meaning snake. You know what I'm saying? Which Nakash doesn't mean snake. You know what I'm saying? You get the imagery of a snake and how snakes kind of do what they do. You know what I mean? But I don't think that there's anything that every action that kind of takes place, it has there's an answer for that. You know what I'm saying? There's something that it's all about balance, right? Even though, and here's the thing, right? Man, y'all getting real deep today. This whole thing is about restructuring and bringing balance, right?
Come on now.
You know, as a result of this, right, some things happen, but balance has to be restored. Everything, everyone is rendered according to whatever deeds that you do, right? And I think that, you know, it kind of fits into the scheme of functionality. So, what do I mean by that, right? This whole expanse, what does it do? It kind of ties into, well, what is the experience that's been allowed to man? To go through certain things, right? To learn, to become better, to reestablish that connection with the Creator. There's certain things that you can do that are absolutely outside of character and function. But ultimately, like I said, it's going to do one or two things, right? And I think these stories highlight those examples. Either you're going to grow and you're going to get better, or you're not. I mean, it's the duality of the matter. Okay.
Slow down, Maury.
You see
I don't have a question, I have a statement to close out.
Okay.
I was just gonna keep it brief. Really, Hebrew has no exemption, English has no exemption to sometimes words had different meanings back when they were originally used. So like the word nice, for example, it can mean like silly, depending on what time period that you're looking at the word nice. Like different words like play has a different type of connotation than let's run around and let's have fun. So Hebrew is no exemption than that, you know what I'm saying? You kind of look at the etymology of words, meaning the root meaning, or maybe how a certain time frame or a certain group of people use the word and stuff like that. Because sometimes we'll look at it through a 2019 perspective, and it was meant when the 1800 perspective. That's what I was gonna say.
Gotcha. Alright, so,
This is crazy. So as we proceed forward, because as we well know, this is the beginning, first day of a new Torah season. When I went over this portion last year, one of the things that I inserted at the very beginning is as we proceed along, it's imperative that we utilize the element that was with the Most High in creating the 8th proverb, wisdom. There's going to be a lot of times when we really have to dig deep and utilize this wisdom. And I add to this to that, Devarim 30:11. Now what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach.
Yeah.
We don't have to dig so deep. The Most High said that this is only as difficult as you make it be.
Right.
I understand, and you know what he also said, I didn't put that up in Devarim, that the secret things belong to the Most High. So guess what? Every single thing that you expect to see is not going to be written out in this book in a textual format that is going to answer your question. You're going to dig and you're going to keep digging, and then it's going to lead to this conjecture and things that you cannot back up and base. Now you're moving on your opinions, and everyone is entitled to one. That's cool. But I guess my only insert on this, it makes it a lot more difficult when we get that shovel or that scuba gear and go in deep like Jacques Cousteau. If we keep it on the surface and just get to the essence, the point, trust me, it's going to open our eyes up. This stuff is right here. It's not even that difficult. It's difficult when we go in too deep. That's all I want to say as we move forward into this Torah season.
my last question. Alright. Everybody told me who?
So functional.
Everybody functional? Alright.
Very functional.
Told everybody, may the Most High bless all of Yisrael underneath the sound of my voice. That was part of the portion today. Told it for your attentiveness. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.